Welcome back to the channel, where love meets mystery, power clashes with destiny, and the unexpected always happens. Today's story is one that will challenge everything you think you know about wealth, pride, and true love. Imagine a powerful Nigerian billionaire, mocked by society for falling in love with a woman everyone believed was just a beggar. Little did they know, she was hiding a secret that would change his life forever. Betrayal, romance, hidden identity, corporate scandal, and a love story that rebuilt an empire from the ashes of bankruptcy. Trust me, you do not want to miss this one. If you love emotional stories filled with plot twists, powerful characters, and a touch of humor and romance, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss another amazing story. Drop a comment below and tell us where you're watching from. Now, grab your popcorn, and let's dive into the story of Nathan and the mysterious woman who changed his destiny forever. In the golden heart of Lagos, where ambition moved faster than traffic on Third Mainland Bridge, Nathan Adeyemi stood at the top of the world, and yet felt completely alone. At 42, he was one of Nigeria's most talked-about billionaires. His tech logistics company had once been featured in Forbes Africa. His oil-servicing contracts stretched from the creeks of Port Harcourt to the polished offices of Abuja. But success had come at a cost. His Ikoyi mansion looked like something from an architectural magazine, a masterpiece of modern Nigerian interior design. The living room had floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the lagoon, smart mood lighting that shifted from cool blue to warm amber, sculpted wooden panels inspired by traditional Yoruba carvings, and a massive abstract painting of a crowned African queen dominating the wall. Italian marble floors reflected the glow of a crystal chandelier shaped like a talking drum. Everything screamed wealth. Everything except his heart. Nathan stood barefoot on the balcony one evening, holding a glass of expensive red wine. The Atlantic breeze brushed his face. 5 years, he muttered. 5 wasted years. The first woman he loved had admired his private jet more than his personality. The second secretly funded her brother's failing business using Nathan's company account. The third, he almost laughed thinking about it, had tried to convince him to transfer 30% of his shares in the name of proving commitment. Proving commitment, he scoffed. Is it wedding or acquisition? His best friend Tunde once told him bluntly, "Guy, you're not dating women. You're attracting investors looking for merger and acquisition." Nathan had laughed then. He wasn't laughing now, because while his love life crumbled, his business followed closely behind. Poor financial oversight, suspicious vendor payments, contracts that made no sense. He had trusted too easily, both in love and in business, and trust had nearly ruined him. The next afternoon, traffic held him hostage near Victoria Island. His driver had taken the day off, so Nathan was behind the wheel of his black Rolls-Royce himself, something he rarely did. Street hawkers moved between cars, the usual chaos. Then he saw her. She wasn't shouting like the others. She wasn't tapping aggressively on car windows. She simply sat on the pavement, her back straight, a small bowl placed before her. Her clothes were simple, slightly worn. A scarf covered her hair, but her posture, calm, dignified, didn't match the situation. She wasn't begging desperately. She looked observant. Their eyes met briefly. Nathan looked away, then looked back. Why am I staring, he wondered. The car behind him honked, but he ignored it. Something about her unsettled him. Not pity, not attraction exactly, but curiosity. On impulse, he parked by the roadside and stepped out. The humid Lagos air wrapped around him instantly. He walked toward her. She looked up, surprised, but not intimidated. "Yes, sir?" Her voice was soft, steady. Nathan hesitated. He had negotiated billion-naira contracts without blinking. Yet now, words felt heavy. "Why are you here?" he finally asked. She raised an eyebrow slightly. "Here as in Lagos, or here as in this pavement?" Nathan almost smiled. "You're bold. Only honest." He studied her more carefully. Her eyes were intelligent, calculating, not broken. "You don't look like you belong on the street. "And where do I belong?" she asked calmly. He opened his mouth, then closed it. She continued, "Sometimes life rearranges people's positions. Today here, tomorrow somewhere else." That sentence lingered. Life rearranges people's positions. Nathan felt something shift inside him. Most people around him either flattered or feared him. This woman did neither. Traffic officers began waving vehicles forward aggressively. He reached into his pocket and handed her some money. She accepted it politely. "Thank you, sir." But she didn't rush to count it. She simply held it. As Nathan walked back to his car, he felt strangely unsettled. He drove home, but her words echoed louder than the engine. That night, in his massive bedroom with automated blackout curtains and a king-size bed framed by carved mahogany, Nathan lay staring at the ceiling. He replayed the moment. Her composure, her voice, her eyes. "What is wrong with me?" he whispered. Out of all the women he had dated, models, influencers, CEOs, why was his mind stuck on a beggar? He turned to his side, still thinking of her. He sat up. This is madness. But deep down, he knew it wasn't madness. It was the first time in years he had felt something real, something not connected to status, contracts, or appearances. By 2 a.m., sleep still refused to come. And somewhere in the busy city of Lagos, beneath the same night sky, a woman who looked like a beggar smiled quietly to herself, as if she already knew the billionaire would return. And this time, their story would truly begin. Nathan did not argue with himself the next morning. He returned. The sun had barely risen over Lagos when his car rolled to a stop near the same pavement in Victoria Island. The city was just waking. Street sweepers at work, early commuters rushing, hawkers arranging their goods. She was there again. Same spot, same calm posture. But this time when she saw him, a faint knowing smile touched her lips. "I was wondering if billionaires wake up this early," she said. Nathan folded his arms. "I was wondering if philosophers beg every morning," he said. She laughed softly. "Touché." He sat on the low concrete divider near her, ignoring the stares from passers-by who were already whispering. "Have you eaten?" he asked. "Not yet." "Good. I mean, not good that you haven't eaten," he corrected quickly. "I mean, come with me. Let me help you properly." She studied his face carefully, as if weighing more than his words. "And why would you help me, mister?" "Nathan. And why would Nathan help a stranger?" He hesitated. "Because you don't talk like a stranger." She held his gaze for a long moment. Then she nodded. "All right." When they drove into Ikoyi and the security gates of his mansion slid open automatically, she didn't gasp. She didn't even look impressed. Instead, she observed the sleek architecture, the minimalist exterior, the water feature by the entrance that reflected the morning light. Inside, the house was a fusion of modern luxury and African heritage. Earth-tone walls contrasted with gold-lined mirrors. Hand-woven aso-oke throw pillows rested on cream sectional sofas. Sculptures carved from Iroko wood stood proudly in corners. Smart panels controlled temperature and lighting with a touch. Nathan noticed she wasn't staring in awe. "You're very calm for someone entering a place like this," he said. She shrugged. "It's beautiful, but beauty without peace is just decoration." He paused, again with these statements. He led her past the main house to the guest house, a detached duplex equally elegant but more intimate. Emerald velvet chairs, textured wallpaper in soft beige, floating staircase with glass railings, and large abstract paintings celebrating Nigerian culture. "This will be yours for now," he said. "For now?" she teased lightly. He cleared his throat. "Until you figure out your next step." He called the housekeeper. "Prepare hot water, fresh towels, and make something proper for breakfast." The housekeeper glanced at the woman briefly, curiosity written all over her face, but obeyed. An hour later, she emerged from the bathroom. Nathan had also arranged for new clothes from a high-end boutique in Lekki. When she stepped out wearing a simple wine-colored dress that hugged her figure modestly, her hair now neatly styled, Nathan froze mid-sip of coffee. His cup almost slipped. "Madam Beggar," he said slowly, "you have been committing visual fraud. So now you're accusing me." I need to call EFCC, he joked. You've been hiding assets. She walked toward him gracefully. And what assets would those be? He gestured dramatically. All this. She shook her head, amused. For the first time in years, Nathan laughed without effort. They ate breakfast together, fluffy scrambled eggs, toasted bread, fresh fruits, and Nigerian tea served in delicate porcelain cups. He expected awkwardness. Instead, conversation flowed. What did you study? He asked casually. Life, she replied. He groaned playfully. You like dodging questions. And you like asking too many. He leaned back in his chair. Fine. Let me ask differently. If you weren't here, where would you be? She paused briefly. Running something big, she said thoughtfully. Building systems. Fixing broken structures. Nathan's interest sharpened. Systems? Like what? Businesses, organizations, even governments, she replied calmly. Most failures are not from lack of money. They're from poor structure and ego. That hit too close. He sighed. My company is struggling. She tilted her head. Why? Internal leakages, poor financial management, staff I trusted too much. She wiped her lips gently with a napkin. Do you personally verify your financial reports? My CFO handles that. And who verifies him? Nathan blinked. Silence. She continued gently. Delegation without accountability is risk. He stared at her. You talk like someone who has run companies. She smiled mysteriously. Maybe I just observe patterns. Days passed. Nathan found himself visiting the guest house more often than his own living room. They talked about life, leadership, childhood memories, and the psychology of wealth. He learned she disliked arrogance, but respected confidence. She believed money amplified character, it didn't create it. One evening, while walking through his main house, she paused in front of the massive abstract queen painting. Who chose this piece? She asked. I did, Nathan said proudly. Represents power. She nodded. Power is not dominance, it's responsibility. He looked at her carefully. Who are you? He whispered almost unconsciously. She turned to him slowly. Someone life rearranged, she replied. But outside the walls of his mansion, rumors were spreading across Lagos elite circles. Have you heard? Nathan Adeyemi picked a beggar from the street. At this rate, his company will collapse completely. Midlife crisis. Nathan heard the whispers. For the first time in his life, he didn't care. Because every evening when he sat across from her, under warm pendant lighting, soft Afrobeats playing in the background, he felt something he hadn't felt in years. Peace. And somewhere deep within her calm smile was a secret powerful enough to shake his world. But she wasn't ready to reveal it yet. Love, Nathan discovered, did not arrive with fireworks. It arrived quietly, in conversations over evening tea, in debates about leadership, in shared laughter that echoed through the emerald-toned guest house in Ikoyi. Within 2 weeks, she no longer felt like a visitor. She felt like balance. One afternoon, Nathan invited her into his main office at the headquarters of Adeyemi Holdings in Victoria Island. The building itself was a glass masterpiece overlooking the Atlantic, one of the pride structures of Lagos Financial District. As they stepped inside, staff members froze. Whispers traveled faster than Wi-Fi. Is that her? The beggar? Sir has finally lost it. Nathan heard them. He didn't flinch. Inside his executive office, a space of walnut-paneled walls, a massive glass desk, leather ergonomic chairs, and a sculpted bronze map of Africa mounted behind him. She walked slowly, taking everything in. Nice space, she said calmly. You expected less? He teased. I expected more personality, she replied. He gasped dramatically. This furniture cost more than some houses. Yes, she nodded thoughtfully, but does it reflect you? He stared at his own office like he was seeing it for the first time. Before he could respond, his CFO, Mr. Balogun, knocked and entered. He stopped abruptly when he saw her. Good afternoon, sir, Balogun said cautiously, eyes briefly scanning her. This is, Nathan began, then paused. He realized he didn't even know how to introduce her. She saved him. I'm a friend, she said politely. Balogun's smile tightened. A friend, he repeated. Nathan sensed the judgment, but ignored it. Bring the quarterly reports, Nathan instructed. When the documents arrived, she leaned over the desk beside Nathan. Her perfume, soft, warm, subtle, distracted him briefly. Focus, Nathan. She scanned the figures silently. 5 minutes passed. 10. Her expression didn't change, but her eyes sharpened. May I? She asked, gesturing to the laptop. Nathan nodded. She typed swiftly, navigating spreadsheets like someone who had built them from scratch. Balogun shifted uncomfortably. After several minutes, she stopped. These vendor payments, she said calmly, why are they layered through 3 intermediary accounts? Balogun cleared his throat. Standard processing structure. She tilted her head slightly. Unnecessarily complex for standard processing. Nathan frowned. Explain. Balogun forced a smile. Sir, perhaps this isn't the appropriate setting. It is, Nathan cut in. She continued gently. When financial pathways are layered without operational justification, it often signals leakage. Balogun's face tightened. Are you implying something? He asked. She closed the laptop softly. I'm stating patterns. Silence filled the room. Nathan dismissed Balogun for the moment. The moment the door shut, he turned to her. How did you see that so quickly? She shrugged lightly. Most people just don't listen. He moved closer, searching her face. You're not just observant, he said slowly. You're trained. She gave him a playful look. Maybe I watched too many documentaries. He stepped even closer. Who are you really? She smiled, that same mysterious smile, and walked toward the window, overlooking the ocean. Someone who hates incompetence, she replied. That evening, Nathan took her to one of the most exclusive restaurants in Victoria Island. The place shimmered with golden lighting, live saxophone music floating through the air. Elite guests turned to stare. Some recognized her. Whispers began again. Nathan leaned across the table. Does it bother you? He asked. What? The way they look at you. She took a slow sip of sparkling water. They see what they want to see. And what do you see? He asked. She looked at him directly. A man who has been betrayed so many times, he doesn't know how to trust what feels real. His chest tightened. You think you're real? He asked softly. She smiled. Don't you? For a moment, Lagos disappeared. The music, the whispers, the clinking glasses, all faded. I haven't felt this peaceful in years, Nathan admitted. She reached across the table, placing her hand over his. Peace is more valuable than profit, she said. He laughed lightly. My shareholders would disagree. Then maybe your shareholders are part of the problem. He burst into full laughter. You're dangerous. I prefer effective. Days later, social media exploded. Photos of Nathan and the so-called beggar girl at high-profile events circulated widely. Blog headlines mocked him. Billionaire falls for street girl. Love or madness? His board members began calling. One even suggested he seek therapy. Nathan stood in his mansion's living room that night, staring at the city lights again, but this time he wasn't alone. She walked up behind him. You're trending, she said casually. I know. Regrets? He turned to face her. None. She studied him carefully. Even if I told you I have nothing to offer you. He smiled softly. You already gave me something. What? Clarity. For the first time, her composure flickered slightly, just slightly, because she hadn't expected that answer. And as the Lagos skyline glittered behind them, 2 empires, one visible, one hidden, were slowly moving toward a collision that would change everything. By the time the rumors reached the board of Adeyemi Holdings for the 3rd time, they were no longer whispers. They were warnings. Nathan, this is becoming a reputational risk, one board member said over a video conference from Abuja. A reputational risk? Nathan repeated calmly from his glass-walled office in Lagos. Yes, investors are uncomfortable. The blogs are mocking the company. Associating with her sends the wrong signal. Nathan leaned back in his leather chair. And what signal is that? There was silence on the line. Another voice joined in. Sir, with respect, people are saying she's after your money. Nathan almost laughed. If only you knew. He ended the meeting shortly after, irritation simmering beneath his calm exterior. For years, he had dated socialites and influencers. The board had applauded those relationships because they fit the brand. But the one woman who challenged his mind, she was unacceptable. That evening, he found her in the guest house library, a cozy corner she had rearranged herself. She had replaced the stiff decorative books with real ones from his main house, leadership manuals, biographies, economic journals, even a few Nigerian history texts. Soft jazz played from a hidden speaker, warm golden lighting reflected against textured cream walls. She was seated cross-legged on a velvet armchair, reading. "You rearranged my books," Nathan said. "They were suffocating in the other room," she replied without looking up. He smiled despite himself. "They think you're a threat," he said. She closed the book slowly. "Who is they?" "My board, my investors, half of Lagos." She stood and walked toward him calmly. "And what do you think?" He stepped closer. "I think you're the only person who hasn't asked me for anything." She searched his face, as if measuring the weight of his words. "You don't owe me anything, Nathan." "I know. Then why do you look like you're about to fight the world?" He exhaled. "Because I'm tired of living for perception." She smiled faintly. "That's growth." He stared at her for a long moment. Then something shifted inside him. Impulsive, certain, unafraid. "Get dressed," he said suddenly. She blinked. "Excuse me? Wear something stunning. We're going out." She crossed her arms playfully. "You sound suspicious." "Trust me." She studied him, then nodded. 2 hours later, they arrived at one of the most prestigious fine dining restaurants in Victoria Island. Crystal chandeliers sparkled overhead. Politicians, CEOs, and celebrities filled the room. Conversations hummed beneath soft live piano music. When they entered, heads turned instantly. Whispers followed. "There she is. That's the girl. Is he serious?" Nathan pulled out her chair himself. She leaned toward him slightly. "You enjoy drama, don't you?" "Only when I'm the director," he replied. Halfway through dinner he stood. The room quieted instinctively. Everyone knew Nathan Adeyemi. She looked up at him, confused. "Nathan." He dropped to one knee. Gasps erupted across the restaurant. Even the pianist missed a note. "I have dated beauty," Nathan said clearly. "I have dated status. I have dated connections. None of them gave me peace." The entire restaurant was silent now. "You walked into my life with nothing. No title, no display, and yet you rebuilt my thinking in weeks." Her eyes widened slightly. "You challenge me. You steady me. You see me." He pulled out a ring, a breathtaking diamond set in white gold. "Marry me." For a moment, just a moment, the confident woman who always had words seemed speechless. Then she laughed softly, shaking her head in disbelief. "You are unbelievable." "Is that a yes?" he asked. She leaned closer and whispered so only he could hear. "You have no idea what you're doing." He grinned. "I've signed riskier contracts." She looked into his eyes, really looked, and something inside her softened. "Yes," she said. The restaurant exploded into applause. Some genuine, some forced. Across the room, a few influential figures exchanged uncomfortable glances. Nathan slid the ring onto her finger. As they stood, she whispered playfully, "You know Lagos will not sleep tonight." "Let them drink coffee," he replied. Days later, they attended a high-profile charity gala at a luxury hotel in Ikoyi. She wore a breathtaking emerald gown that matched the subtle tones of his mansion's interior design. Minimal jewelry, simple elegance, but the way she carried herself? Royal. Business moguls approached them cautiously. She spoke intelligently about infrastructure, sustainable investment, and corporate transparency. One senator blinked twice. "I thought you said she was a street girl," he muttered to another guest. Nathan overheard and smiled quietly. But while the elite were adjusting to her presence, something darker was unfolding. Back at Adeyemi Holdings, the CFO and 2 senior managers sat in a closed office. "She's getting too close," one whispered. If she audits the wrong file, we're finished, another said. Baligan's jaw tightened. Then we move faster. That night, back in Nathan's mansion, beneath warm ambient lighting and surrounded by handcrafted Nigerian decor, she stood by the window, holding a tablet. She had accessed deeper financial records, and what she was seeing confirmed her suspicions. Layered shell vendors, inflated contracts, siphoned funds, not small amounts, billions. Nathan walked in, loosening his tie. "You look like someone planning a war," he joked. She turned slowly. "Maybe I am." His smile faded. "Nathan," she said gently, "if I'm right about what I'm seeing, this isn't mismanagement." He felt his chest tighten. "Then what is it?" She held his gaze. Betrayal. And for the second time in his life, the woman standing before him was about to change everything. But this time, she would no longer remain in disguise. When Nathan thought betrayal was behind him, just when Lagos finally began to accept their love, the real storm begins. Hidden accounts, layered transactions, billions disappearing without a trace. The woman everyone mocked as a beggar has uncovered something far more dangerous than gossip. A carefully orchestrated financial crime happening right inside Nathan's empire. But here's the real question. How does she know exactly where to look? Who trained her eyes to spot corruption in seconds? And what will happen when Nathan discovers that the woman he proposed to is not who she claims to be? In the next chapter, a shocking revelation. A boardroom confrontation that will shake Lagos elite. Powerful enemies exposed, and a secret identity that will leave Nathan speechless. Will love survive the truth, or will power destroy everything they've built? If you're enjoying this story, and you can't wait for the next explosive part, make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss what happens next. Trust me, the next part changes everything.